It's like an
Oh,
old
that's
jacket.
where I put that.
Find an old jacket.
Yeah.
Well, like that's like the best. That's like winning the lottery when you find
Man.
like $10 in an old jean.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Or even in the tumble dryer, sometimes I find.
I found $200 once in a jacket that I hadn't worn for like a year.
Mm.
I thought I was Croesus. I'm so rich.
Like Jesse.
Best.
All right. So how was your weekend? Yours? Bakabantu? What happened? Go on.
I went out for a civilized lunch yesterday outside in the open with the jazz band playing.
Wow. Very civilized.
And had good old beer battered fish and chips, which was nice. The weather was good.
Okay.
And had family visit as well. And that was about it, really. I was just, for the rest of the time, doing stuff around the house. Oh, I popped in 2 slices of bread into the toaster.
This story is so exciting. At this point, people are on the edge of their seat waiting for what's going to happen.
And then my ADHD self took myself outside into the garden and forgot about the toast. And it didn't pop up.
Oh, shit. Did it just incinerated?
I opened up the front door and it looked like a scene from Chicago Fire.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't see my hand in front of my face.
Toast makes a lot of smoke.
Wow.
Yeah, it does, right?
And
Well, if you burn
I said
it.
aloud, what the fuck is burning? I went straight to the stove.
Wait, you're still confused.
Yeah. I have no idea about the toast.
No idea.
No idea. I'm
not-
checking the air fryer and the smoke is billowing out from underneath the top counters. And then eventually I saw the toast. Jeez. Yeah, no, look, they were about a third of the size they were before they went in, and they were charcoal. But the smell,
And it doesn't go away.
no. But I found obviously the biggest source of the smell is underneath the top counters. There's like a thick yellow residue that you've got to wash off.
Ugh.
Oh, my goodness.
Like a crematorium at your house.
And the cats were totally unfazed, walking through it with their tails held high,
Crematorium at Leanne's house.
which made me think maybe I've done this before a couple of times.
So they're used to it.
They're totally cool with the cats are like, oh, not again. Anyway, yeah, I've got into this habit. I did the best thing though on Saturday night. So it's my birthday. First of all, your birthday these days is about answering messages. Oh, good. We're back on the YouTubes. Listen, everybody, I apologize. I don't know what was happening there. But Ricky says people are waiting on the wrong video. Oy, oy, oy. So get on. I'm sorry about this. We're trying to figure it out. But YouTube.
Yeah,
messed
people
us around
are
today.
waiting on the wrong video.
All right. So just tell them there, Bakabantu. How can you do that? Can you drop a comment?
Yeah, I'll drop a comment.
All right. So the thing about a birthday is you spend the whole day replying to messages. And I mean, I love that people have gone to the trouble of sending you a happy birthday but there's some people who then send you a long thing. And they're like, oh, we haven't seen each other in such a long time. Thank you for being a friend. And I hope we get to see more of each other. Blah, blah, blah. I would love to go for dinner. And then suddenly you're like, I just want to say thank you and get on with my day.
You just turned a year older. It doesn't mean that you have to
Suddenly become I have to rekindle a lost friendship from like 20 years ago.
So much pressure.
Anyway, so it's interesting though who contacts you. I mean, like my business partner, Rena, she doesn't put her birthday on Facebook because she says that is an invitation to a whole lot of old, unnecessary people coming into your life on your birthday, and then you have to reply to all of them. But it doesn't help because what happens now is that people post stuff and then, especially on Instagram, which is the only social media thing I still use. And then there's an expectation that you will share it. You know what I mean? No, I mean, these are from people I do know and like. So these are not like randos, but there's an expectation, like if they put up a thing saying happy birthday or whatever, that you must share it.
On your feed.
Yeah, and then I feel bad if I don't. So then I'm like, oh, I better not forget this one because now I'm here at this Headway thing and I'm not really paying attention to my phone. And I say, oh, there are 3 more that have come in since I got here. Now I better repost those or they're going to think that I don't like them. And it's just it's so much admin. It's like I have to employ a person on my birthday to do this.
But like, there's a hack for this. Like,
What?
I've seen my sisters do this. So after everything is said and done, on the next day you post like, "Oh, thank you everyone who wished me happy birthday." Yeah, so you just clump them all together. Like,
I don't even respond.
Yeah,
sometimes
you
go
don't
on-
res- you don't
onto-
respond or
No,
you like.
I mean, come on.
I
You
go
can-
into LinkedIn.
You don't feel bad?
But I forget. I go into LinkedIn and I see birthday wishes
I
from
haven't
a
even
year ago.
I haven't even checked on LinkedIn.
It's going to be there.
Ugh, LinkedIn is terrible because that people post those copy and paste things because it actually tells you happy birthday on your special day.
Yeah.
And also, can I just say this because I'm sure this happens to everybody, it's not just me. What is this thing with companies?
Oh, yes.
Oh, this came in whatnot.
The rental car company
Yeah.
is like, happy birthday. Like, oh, I wouldn't have had a great day until I heard from the
Yeah.
rental car company. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do if next year. What if they don't send me a happy birthday from Imperial Rental Car?
Let me celebrate
week.
today by going and renting a car.
Okay. One defense. Steers gives you a voucher, like 100 Rand voucher.
Use the microphone properly.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Steers gives you like a micro, like what?
A microphone. Steers gives you a voucher.
Gives you a voucher for like 100 Rand on your birthday.
That's all I need to get fat.
Wow.
That's all I need.
Well, that's better than
No.
nothing. That's a gift.
Listen, I'm sorry I'm being grumpy about this. Maybe it sounds like I'm being grumpy about it, but I think this is what everyone goes through on their
Yeah,
birthday. You
it's part
spend
of their marketing
you spend
ploy.
2/3 of the day replying to messages and getting marketing messages from this automated system. It's because you put in your birthday when you sign up,
Your ID number.
and then these companies that I don't think about companies. Why would you want a happy birthday from a company? It's like the worst thing. The only reason a company exists is as a legal entity.
But they want communication.
I don't want to communicate with a company.
They want to be personal. with
I've
you.
never liked a company on social media. I don't want to hear from them.
But they want to
and-
be personal.
I know that there are people whose whole lives and they work in a department where your whole thing is, what do they call it? Customer, know thy customer. What is it? KYC, know your customer, and customer relations. And
Mhm.
okay, just take me off your lists. I don't want to hear from an insurance company ever. I'll contact
Unless
you.
they're giving you money.
No, that's it. I'll contact you when the shit hits the fan and you just pay up. I don't want to hear from you on my birthday. I don't need like, this is from X and Y insurance company. Have the best birthday. I'm like, I know you're a machine.
Mhm.
I know you don't give a shit. I don't need to hear from you. What kind of sad people sit there and go, oh, got the happy birthday from the insurance company. That's just, now I feel noticed and recognized and loved.
Yeah, if it doesn't come
Who?
with some kind of reward,
No one.
Then no.
No one. Just don't. Okay, so that we cut those out. That's at least 1/3 of your day
yeah.
back. And then it's half your day. And you know what? Frankly, I don't mind talking to all the people all around the world in my social media and on WhatsApp or wherever, just saying thank you. It's not a difficult thing to do.
Mm.
And for some of them, you're like, it would be great to see you or whatever. You know, like some people you don't connect with that often. That's nice to hear from them on the birthday. I like sending people a happy birthday. It's kind of when you do eventually talk to them, it's not like you haven't spoken in 5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
It's
So,
kind
well,
of
I
like a
sent you
social
birthday. Yeah,
placeholder.
exactly. It does a little bit of the work for you. But companies
No.
and machine generated happy birthdays, take me off your system.
Unless it's
okay?
like BA and you're giving me a ticket to London, that would be nice.
Oh, Matthew says grumpy old man. Well, do you like getting automated messages? Do you like that? Matthew, is that what you want? You want that? I'll tell you what, I'm going to sign you up. Send me your email address. I'm going to go onto 10 boring bullshit companies' websites. I'm going to sign you up for happy birthday emails. Let's see if it makes you happy.
Dear insert name here.
Oh, my God. And I still think a lot of people from my old email address when we were still on radio, I think people signed me up for shit. You know, people who didn't like me or whatever, because I still get emails from companies I have nothing to do with. I'm like, I've never bought cakes from the Tannie Santi Tuisnywerheid. Why am I getting a happy birthday from her? No.
Do you see Sugar Chabalala's comment?
Unbelievable. Tabo says, I'm definitely going senile after my birthday. Ugh.
Sugar says Papa G should join Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
They don't get bothered on their birthdays. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah,
they
yeah.
still do
No. So
by
you-
companies.
they don't want, they don't believe in birthdays.
I know, but they
Yep.
probably still get company happy
What a
birthdays.
thing to do to a child, take away its birthday. You Jehovah's Witnesses have got a lot to answer for. You know, they see all the other kids with their parties and their presents.
My best friend in primary school was a Jehovah's Witness.
And she
I
killed
also
herself
had
yet?
Yeah, I also had one.
And I think she left the cult and became a
Course
yoga,
she
yoga
left.
teacher.
Of course she
What
left.
kind of
She was
cult,
like,
Leanne?
I'd like some presents for my birthday. Huh?
It was so weird. I didn't even know when her birthday was.
It's not a cult. I've done studies in Jehovah's Witness. It's not a cult.
They're all
Ah,
cults.
please.
No.
You're a Jehovah's Witness.
No, I'm
Own
not.
up.
I'm not.
Why would you defend them?
I'm not. But I've read the literature.
What literature?
They have a little book. It was yellow at my time. It was what the Bible really says. It's a great historical book.
And you read this as a. So what did they say? What did the rest of us who've only read the Bible know that? Or what did we not know that they
Okay,
know?
there's no heaven or hell.
This is the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. Is
Yeah.
that the same thing? The Mormons?
No.
No, it's different.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm confusing Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's
you've got
Witnesses
to-
are the knock on your door.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sure
you
there
see,
is a heaven.
Now, just by asking this, there's some algorithm that's going to send me a Jehovah's Witness. It's going to come. Some woman's
Siri's
going to.
listening to
Some
you.
guy is going to pitch up at my house today.
Have you heard the
Have
good
you heard
news?
the good news about our Lord Jesus Christ?
No, but I think there is a heaven. You've got to buy your place into heaven by
No, man.
converting other people. You have to convert other people.
Buying was an indulgence thing the Catholics did in the Middle Ages.
Exactly. So the Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe in heaven or hell. They believe in paradise. So then, yeah.
So schmeradise, paradise, heaven, schmeven. It's the same thing.
And there is no hell. There is no fire
Oh.
and brimstone.
I like that. The Jews also don't have a hell.
Yeah. It's just
hell,
forever death.
Hell is a particularly shitty thing to tell a child about.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to explain to a child what hell is?
But they also,
They just-
parents use it
They
against
look
them.
at you with horror. They're like, there's a place where people just get tormented and tortured for
They
eternity
burn forever?
for a couple of mistakes. They made a mistake in the mortal life.
Yeah.
Forever they burn?
My friend used to pick her nose under the sheets so that God couldn't see her.
Oh,
She
that
knew she
poor
was going
girl.
to hell.
Is she still alive?
Yeah, she's the one with the 18-year-old children that I saw the other day.
Oh.
She picked her nose in public, so I think she's over it.
She stopped believing in hell as well.
But like speaking about weird cults, right? So in the village I grew up in, my granddad's village, there was this family who was super, I don't want to say Jesus zealots or whatnot, but they didn't subscribe to any church. They had like 16 kids. 9 of them died from just the common cold because they didn't believe in medicine. They just believed in prayer.
Well, I mean, like, I can't remember who it is. Might also be the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't want them to think I'm picking on them this morning, but they also don't do blood transfusions.
Yeah, they don't, but they do panado at least, or they do like common cold. They don't do blood transfusions.
So these
or
people that you knew, they did nothing.
they did
They
nothing.
didn't believe in any modern medicine.
any modern medicine. You pray.
How many
away
of them are
the symptoms.
left?
That's why I'm saying, like,
How many
there
are
were
left?
there were 16 kids because they also didn't believe in contraceptions,
Yeah.
and like 9 of them died in my generation. Like this
Yeah.
is like every year they were popping out
Well,
kids.
you want to
and they
know
were
what
dying.
life? You want to know what life was like before
They didn't have-
paracetamol?
Yeah, they didn't
There
have
we go.
electricity. They didn't believe in penicillin. Like these kids died. I think the state should have stepped in because that was just basically
No.
abuse.
16 down to 9. That's
That's natural selection.
was making it possible for those people to make it. There's no way 16 of them would have made it. Plus, there would have been another 9 people who we couldn't accommodate. You know what? Our economy is struggling already. Those 9 people did us a favor. I mean, I wouldn't be keen on that. If I were a parent, I'd want my kids to have access to the medicine, but yeah. All right. So I get a happy birthday on different dates all the time. Only the bank and the government know when I was born, says Slippery Pickle. There has to be some way to change that. No, you don't. In fact, it's great that people are
Yeah.
confused as to when you're born. Did Grindr send your birthday wish, Gareth? Says Alan. No, I'm not on there.
Yeah, you never
I'm not
signed
on-
up for those stuff.
I'm not on any of those apps. So
I still
thank
am.
God.
I keep forgetting to remove myself.
Wens says only 122,000 people go to paradise. Yes, you work your way to be one of those 122,000.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, so it's limited edition.
Yes, the more people that you convert, the higher your chances. That's why they're knocking on your door.
Oh. But you're
And
converting.
they've got like Excel spreadsheets and programs and everything of people.
Are you
where they
making this
live.
up?
No,
I get the feeling like you're stringing me along
I
here.
promise you.
Are you sure?
Like if certain people don't answer their doors, they'll put there, didn't answer door, try again.
Go to hell.
Oh,
Oh, I thought it was go to hell if you don't answer your door.
No, they'll keep
Wow.
trying.
wow. Here's Dr. Robbins says, I had a colleague who was a Jehovah's Witness. We weren't allowed to have a Christmas party. We had to
No.
call it an end of year party. Okay, now you know what? I'm having a Christmas party. I don't.
You love Christmas.
Yeah, then don't come. I don't care if it offends you or it doesn't suit your sensibilities. In fact, I am all for not inclusivity. I'm for exclusivity.
Mm.
In fact, everything in my life is about exclusivity, and I make no bones about it. I don't want to belong to anything that anyone can get into. The minute it's like open access, free movie tickets, I'm out. I'm out of that. I want exclusivity. So more people go, oh, well, no, I don't think I can come because they used this word or they didn't call it that. And unless they call it that, I can't go. Then I'm like, good, less of us. Good. I'm in for that.
The Christmas one is very funny because in America, it's like one of the biggest struggle because now they're like the Democrats call it happy holidays for inclusivity.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Republicans are like, no, it was Jesus's birthday. And then but then the real people know Jesus couldn't have been born on the 25th. It's an entire thing.
Well, don't you go spoiling people's belief systems, all right?
Well, Leanne
Leanne
just told us about the spreadsheet that the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I didn't know. I think that's bullshit. Leanne makes stuff up. I mean, you can see. Look at her. Look into her eyes. She's completely making all of this stuff up. Look at her. She's sitting there. I promise
you.
Nonsense. Look at her.
I'm gonna Google it.
She's got her own bullshit spreadsheet that she pulls up. She's like, let me throw this into the mix.
Yeah, why are you opening Excel? Why are you creating a fake document?
Guys, I saw the tribute they did to Derek Watts on Carte Blanche. I haven't watched it in so long. I forgot what it's called. Carte Blanche last night. Did you watch it?
No.
Okay, so first time I watched Carte Blanche. There were so many presenters that I'd never seen in my life before.
Were they all there together?
I knew Claire Mawisa, right?
Yes.
Because she's been there a long time. And then I saw
I wonder if Ruda was there.
She was there. She did a very nice tribute. You know, Ruda is like, she's almost like me. She's like my spirit animal. She has no emotion whatsoever. I could live with Ruda Landman. I could actually be Ruda Landman's husband if I didn't know she was already married to a guy.
Yeah.
Because she's totally unemotional. There wasn't a tear or any of this shit. And you could see her standing at the back at the end when all the others, McFarlane, Mulele's like bursting into tears and like falling down on the stage. No, he didn't. But I mean, he was upset. And Ruda's like
stoic.
Jesus, she's stoic. I love that. I find it so sexy. Is that just me?
Yes.
It's just me, right? Yeah. So Derek Watts, they gave this really beautiful tribute. And I mean, I'm glad I watched it because I don't see TV most of the time and I don't like Carte Blanche. It depresses me. But I suddenly realized like this guy, he was on the same show for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
He was like an institution all on his own. He could walk around anywhere in South Africa. People knew who he was.
Yeah.
Old, young, rich, poor, black, white, whatever. He was, everybody knew him.
Yeah.
I don't think that, but apart from Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu, Gedlehle Giza maybe, I think like Derek is the only guy who would have been recognized pretty much everywhere.
Mm.
Yeah.
Look, most people would have seen him coming and run towards the hills because, the number of crooks. And Devi was on. It was so nice because all of these
they
people,
got Devi back.
Just for the tribute. And I think it's so nice that she did it because, like if ETV, ENC had stopped her, I would have been like, what are you, insane? She's coming back to give tribute to Derek Watts. And it's correct. So I'm glad
she even did it on ENCA.
Good. I love that.
Yeah.
Good.
By herself.
I think that's beautiful. And then Ruda was on and they had a bunch of other, George Mazarakis, who was the original producer for Carte Blanche. And it was just very appropriate. I think his family can be very proud of the way that it seems to me he's one of the few real South African heroes. Like people just loved him. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of top class journalism.
He was a nice guy on top of all of this.
Such a nice man. I mean, every time I saw Derek, it was like seeing one of my dad's friends who I really liked.
Like Debbie even said he used to get uncomfortable with the awkward questioning at times. He wasn't always happy exposing everything and being
he wasn't drumming it in.
Not like Devi would,
like a nice guy, yeah. Meanwhile, Devi's like, hey man, why you steal that TV?
Put it back.
No, but like what I noticed about like genuinely nice guy, everyone gives the puff piece when everyone dies.
Yeah. What a nice guy.
What a nice guy. But everyone genuinely had nothing bad to say about this guy.
So McFarlane, Mulele, and then they had Masa Kekana, who I've met a couple of times here as well. And,
So the first time that
They
I
were
ever
also nice about how he would help them. He'd compliment them. He'd give them
he would mentor them
advice.
as well.
Yeah. So it's like such a good guy.
Yeah. The very first time I saw Derek in person, I was a little.
Was when he was in Benoni and you could see his shadow across the horizon at sunrise.
I was a little
tall.
girl at my grand's house in an apartment complex. Or
Yeah?
no, like
I mean, and your gran was a crook, and Derek came to
Derek
bust
came.
her.
and
At least was that Davy telling
he
your
knocked
grandma-
on the door and I opened it. And I was like 5 and he was towering above me.
Wow.
And he had a washing basket in his hand with all his clothes in it. And he was coming to drop off his clothes with my gran to wash. I don't know what kind of relationship or deal that they had. That was a weird sound from
was
my
that a
throat.
you sound?
Yeah, it came from my throat.
There was something going on there inside you, deep down inside. Is that your hip trying to talk to
It
us?
started squeaking like he said it would.
So Derek brought his washing to your gran.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of arrangement they
Oh,
had.
I wonder what she was getting in return.
No, man, come on. She was a
Mhm.
very stout Christian woman.
And Derek was such a nice guy.
Hi.
He lived in the
There's
complex.
Derek walking in. Hi, I'm here from Carte Blanche.
this is my laundry.
So
what
that
do I-
was,
what
that
do I
was,
give in return?
it was so weird because that's my first encounter with him. I mean,
Wow.
I always thought if I saw him again, I'd want to ask him about that because, yeah, I just wanted to know what the story was.
Well, I bet you he's
And-
relieved he's not around for you to be needling him with questions.
Well, the last time I saw him was when I went for my hip operation. We were in the same hospital. So just
Oh,
recently, I saw him like 8 weeks ago.
wow.
He was walking around reception as a patient.
You know what? It was nice to see, and I'm very, very glad that they put that tribute together. Because when they started it off, I thought, oh no, it's going to be one of these things that you feel awful about. But they showed so much good stuff,
Mm.
and they did it really beautifully. And even for someone who's not emotional at all, I saw these other people who'd worked so closely with him getting emotional. I was like, you know what? That's actually beautiful. I can see that's for me to see that that's quite something is like, then you must know, because I don't like any of that like sentimental shit. Enough
you
already.
just say you find the girl who's like emotional, the sexiest
Yeah,
person
Ruda.
ever.
Ruda's standing at the back during the finale of this tribute. And you could see she's like, oh, just get this over and done with. But you could tell she really cared
She
about
really
him,
cared,
but in her way, right?
Mm.
And these days it's become like I really admire and have an enormous amount of time for people who buck the trend in society. And Ruda was from a different age where the stoicism was something to be marveled at and to be expected from a journalist.
Definitely.
You didn't want them getting all like emo during an interview with someone who's just had something terrible happen to them. You want them to maintain their composure and get to the facts
Yeah,
and not get emotional. It's up to you as the audience. You can decide how you react to it.
I mean, think of Rian Kreyvagen in the same.
He hasn't had
family.
a feeling since the 40s.
Yeah. The first time he ever showed any type of emotion was like in an advert or a birthday
He
wish
was
or something.
paid.
Years
He
later.
was paid to show emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a huge amount of respect for that. But really, you could tell like Ruda was like, I've said my say.
Next.
Let's get out of here.
Can I go home now?
But they assembled the whole Avengers squad on Carte Blanche. It was quite something to see. So well done. I thought it was very pretty. A very pretty, very, very tidy, very lovely tribute.
Mm.
All right. So let's see here. A couple of people going on about Jehovah's Witnesses. Leave them alone. All right. We've moved on, so you can too. When's again people just going at the Jehovah's Witnesses. Sanele says, was Clema Wisa there? Then it truly was beautiful. Yeah, she's terrific, hey? Jesus, Garrett, that Devi accent was so racist, I'm crying. I love Devi. You know, she's been on the show before, and she's one of the best people. She would laugh at that. I'm not a crier, but I had crocodile tears. He will be missed.
Did you see you spoiled Majosi's day because he didn't know about Derek? And you just told him.
He's
that
like,
really?
what? He
He's
died?
like, what? He died?
Oh, sure. I didn't. So I was the first to tell him.
Yes.
Oh, damn. All right. So here's Ryan. We're going to do some sport to catch up on what happened over the weekend. The rugby was fantastic. So let's start with that, shall we? Is that what you want to start with, or am I jumping the gun here? Ryan, what do you want to tell us?
I mean, I was going to start off with the Premier League, but we can definitely start off with the rugby.
Let me just help you out here, because this is called Beyond the Scoreboard, and it's what we do with Ben on a Friday, and then obviously on a Monday we catch up with the details, just the results. So let's take a look. What do you got for us with super bets?
Well, we bulldozed the All Blacks 35-7, and that's the record of how much they've been beaten. So
fantastic,
which is great. We had England with 22.
That was on Friday
Fiji
night.
30. Yeah. No. Did you guys go out to watch that, by the way?
No.
I was at a pizza place. It was quite something. You should have seen when they were playing the national anthem. All the staff were like,
well, you know
patriotic.
What I always find is that if you want decorum, you got to go to a pizza place.
I was just there.
If you want true national pride and a respect for our symbols, you need to be at a pizza place. People munching down on their Hawaiian or their Regina, and they suddenly like, this is the national anthem, and then they get up and they start singing.
But it's funny because the
sauce dripping down their faces.
You could tell there was like conflicted thoughts in the restaurant. Like, do people sing? Do they not sing? Because the staff was singing.
This is on the West Rand?
This is in the West Rand.
Did people have clothes on?
Yes.
Pants?
Yes.
Bricks in their handbags?
Shoes questionable, but you know.
Imagine all those people without shoes standing up singing. You know, there used to be a time where I think we were trained at school. Leanne, you're as old as I am. Where if you didn't stand to attention when the anthem came,
it was a serious thing. We used to have rehearsals,
right?
For the anthem.
We used to raise the flag on.
Yeah,
like at least
we also did that.
At least one morning.
Parade.
Yeah. Well, you went to like a Kampstaldraad or something. But okay, so you were at this pizza place, and there was a nice gees.
Yeah, nice little setting there. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a great
Did
game.
you stop eating and sing the anthem?
I did. I didn't want to look out of place.
Yeah, good.
I was
good.
like, you know,
that's where peer pressure is a good thing.
No, because you see Siya Kolisi doing this, and you're like, oh yeah,
you're not gonna. If you see Kolisi's doing it, but who the hell are you? Get up. You slob.
Continue with the rugby. We have England 22 with Fiji 30. We have Ireland with 17 and 13 Samoa. France 41.
Everybody's talking about Ireland and how great Ireland are. I think we could beat Ireland.
I think so
Ireland
too.
are the current world champions. So
yes, but I'm thinking South Africa at the moment are looking pretty fire.
I mean, if you saw the squad on Friday, I think it's very possible. To be honest, I was saying to Bakabantu as we were coming in, that was kind of like a final for me.
Yeah.
Felt like. I mean, just for a warm-up game. Come on.
Yeah,
between your hat and your hoodie, there's so much writing on you. I actually can't concentrate. You've got more writing on you than I'm
trying to get a read on you.
You're like you're like a Formula One car. You have so much branding all over you. It's very difficult to pay attention to what you're telling us.
No, well, I prefer to have things. You know, I don't like just plain things.
Yeah, clearly.
Anyway. Let's move on to Premier League. Chelsea got the first 3 points of the season thanks to Raheem Sterling, Nicholas Jackson. Great game.
All right.
Bournemouth 0 to Spurs. That's from James Maddison, the new signing from Leicester. Brilliant. Arsenal 2, Fulham 2.
Hey, Mary Molema says, I find Ryan, the producer, hot.
Oh, there we go.
She says, hashtag teddy bear.
Oh. Well, I mean, I was sweating in there earlier from this whole YouTube channel thing, but
you got it sorted, huh? There's no more problem?
We sorted. We're back up. All right. Man United almost got thrashed by Forest, but they had the comeback of the season, to be honest. They were losing 2-0 in the first half, came back 3-2. Sheffield United 1, Man City 2. That was an obvious one, but in the beginning, Sheffield scored, and I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Haaland came back. That's how it goes. Then we had a classic Newcastle, Liverpool. It was 1-2. Thanks to Darwin Núñez. He came back with 2 in the second half, and it was brilliant. They were down to 10 men. They still came back.
Liverpool won.
Yes. So then we have Formula One. We have the Dutch Grand Prix. I don't know if anybody saw that.
No.
That was... Everyone thought it was going to be an obvious race, but then it started raining, which changed the whole game. That stopped the race.
And how much? So who won?
Max Verstappen.
So how much different was it?
That wasn't that much.
No. Oh, the
We
rain.
did.
Wait, we're so desperate for a bit of excitement in Formula
Well, I
One
mean,
that
everyone is
the
slipping and
weather.
sliding everywhere. It
The
was
one
hilarious.
thing no one talks about because they're worried it's going to be boring is the weather, but not in Formula One because they've talked about everything else. Now all that's left is the weather.
Fair enough. But I mean, now Max Verstappen has won 9 consecutive wins, and he has 9 in a row.
Mhm.
And now he's matching up with Vettel and Alberto Ascaris with the
Okay.
9 consecutive wins, which is great.
All right.
I have a bonus sport update. I don't have the golf update because I actually don't watch golf. And
No, then don't bother
So
with
if
that.
you don't
Only-
watch golf, then
Well,
we're not
no,
going to know
it's
about
only,
it.
only,
Ben
only
didn't give it to me,
Only
yeah.
Ben knows about the golf.
Ben,
Yeah,
you
it's
tune
true.
in on Friday. Ben
Right.
will tell you about that. But my bonus sport update is UFC 296 has been announced. That's Conor McGregor.
Oh, he's back, is he?
He has announced his first fight since July 2021 at UFC 264, where he got beat by Dustin Poirier.
Well, I'm
Remember that
hoping
one?
he'll be back in the octagon so he can get off my Instagram feed.
Exactly. So now the new opponent's name is Michael Chandler, and it'll be held on December 16th in Las Vegas.
Doesn't Michael Chandler sound like a super
He sounds like
preppy?
he holidays in the Hamptons.
Yeah. And he
And-
wears golf shirts and chinos.
Yeah.
golf shirts and
Hi,
chinos and
I'm
the
Michael-
jersey.
A
And
jersey around
boating
his shoulders.
shoes, boat shoes.
I'm Michael Chandler. I'm going to get beaten up by Conor McGregor.
Well,
we'll see.
Chandler, we'll see.
He's got the biggest mouth, but not the greatest track record. So we'll see. But,
But have you seen Conor? Conor looks like he ate Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
He's huge.
What is he? He got big?
Yeah, he got big. He got like doubled his weight. He looks like a beast. But currently, him and Chandler are doing this thing, like the Ultimate Fighter, where they're training people. That's why it's building up to that.
Mm.
yeah, so that I'm very excited for that one. So follow me on
All
Twitter for
right.
more at Huxley for.
There we go.
So-
Yeah, I'll put it. Let me put it up on screen because
Yes,
that's
put
the
up on
whole
screen,
reason
put
Ryan
up on
does
screen,
anything he
yeah.
does on this show.
And you could put up more words on Ryan.
All right, there we
All
go.
right, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Very good. That is what you need to know in the world of sport and beyond the scoreboard, which is brought to you by Superbets. You can find out more on Fridays with Ben. Superbets, of course, support responsible gambling. Strictly now under 18s. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. And you could pretty much bet on any of those things we just talked about. Simpiwe is big on this stuff now.
Mm.
She's become an inveterate gambler.
Keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, you got to watch her.
Yeah, hell, winners
She's
know
like, what are the odds? What are the odds? She gets super excited about it. So you too can be like Simpiwe if you go and open an account with them today and you get a special 50 Rand
$50.
bonus. Yeah. If you follow through from cliffcentral.com, why the hell wouldn't you take it? Who's not interested
in free
in a
money.
free 50 Rand in this economy?
Jeez, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what's going on here. We've got, is it a public holiday today? Not that I'm not working, just wondering if my staff are.
Oh, then you know you've made it.
It's definitely not a public holiday today. Today's the 28th of August.
It's a bank holiday today in the
in
UK.
England, is it?
Yeah, I have UK clients. Oh, yes, that means I won't have my usual Monday meeting. Yay.
Okay, well, that's always nice. I'm not having my usual Monday meeting either because I don't have a usual Monday meeting.
Well, some of us still have to work. So I'm going to work.
Yeah, you're going to be looking for cancer all day.
No, I have students now.
You have students? Tell us
Yeah.
about this.
Just
This is an
remind
exciting.
us what you do.
This is an
'cause I missed
exciting new
that.
development.
So I'm a cytotechnologist, right? So I look for cancer every day.
Like
So, yeah,
just
in
in the
microscope.
traffic or
Oh yeah. I just like I just walk around at the end of the street. I'm like,
He's got one of
"Cancer."
those. He's got one of
Like
those
cancer.
dogs that can sniff cancer, and then he's like, "Go on, Fido. Is that one cancerous?"
No. So what we get is like we get a sample and then we run tests on it, like stains and whatnot, and then you put
from
it
real people.
Yeah, from real people. Yeah, not fake people.
What do you think from aliens? Of course, from
No.
people.
As opposed to like from fake people. Like,
I don't know what I mean.
Did you have mushrooms before
No,
you came to the show this morning?
I think I mean like I don't know.
You don't know what you're talking
No,
about.
I do know, but I'm embarrassed to say.
so say Leanne found a lump somewhere, and then
Mm.
the doctor aspirates whatever is in the lump. They send it to me. I run a test on it, and then I put it under a microscope, and then I see what type of cells are there.
But
Are
there's
they
so many
cancer?
different types of cancer. So how
Yes,
do you
he's
know?
trained in finding
Then
all of
I'm
them.
trained into
That's his thing.
That's
You-
what
you-
I'm trying to
You
explain.
think he's thumb sucking the results, puts them in the yes or no pile? He knows what he's doing.
It's not yes or no. So I can diagnose all the cancers and the special stains for each and every one. I can diagnose.
Right.
I can even tell you where it comes from.
Right.
That's how like.
So you know when like a doctor takes a sample during an operation or something and says, well, we'll
Yeah.
send that to the lab. Is there any time that you could get it wrong? And or not because you've got it wrong, but because it didn't appear on the slide, but yet it's still
Oh,
there.
okay. So
it didn't appear on your specific slide. Because I've actually seen the process where you have to cut the thinnest slivers
yeah.
the world's ever seen, and then you've got to float it and put this other
Yeah.
film on top of it.
I think you're getting confused between this and a Master Chef.
It does look like you're cooking something up.
So like, yeah. So what you're talking about is like when you're cutting the sliver, it's called a microtome. So like you cut these slivers and you could miss it depending if the sample was aspirated correctly and whatnot, and if the sample was taken in the right place, because sometimes you miss it, but that's more like a clinical error. Yeah, so you can miss it, but then there's the triple test in medicine where radiologically, clinically, like, so what the doctor felt, what he saw in the x-ray or the mammogram or the whatever, and what you saw cytologically.
And remember, mostly what people do is they'll do a second test if they're concerned.
Yeah.
So then they'll do another one.
So if you took three,
you know why she's asking, right? Because she's hypochondriac and she's worried like every test she's done, which is a lot, isn't absolutely accurate. So she's just double, triple, and quadruple checking so that we can make sure there isn't anything going wrong.
And there's countermeasures. Like I don't send out results. Two of us need to agree on something.
Okay.
Then something gets sent out.
They've got checks and balances, Leanne. Promise
it
you.
Works.
But anyway, so you're doing that now. You've got students?
Yeah, so I found myself invigilating and basically setting up mock exams. So we write the board exam September. Yeah, so teacher went AWOL, and then I was called in to step in. Now I'm invigilating and setting up mock exams. Like, it was like my 2 weeks setting up mock exams and testing these kids.
I wasn't worried before. Now I'm worried.
Yeah, so like I'm really training.
I better not get cancer anytime soon. Send it through to your students. We're in big trouble.
Oh, no. Come on, they're going to pass. They're going to pass. I'm expecting distinctions from both of them.
So where do you actually work?
I work in Braamfontein. So the NHLS.
In a lab?
Yeah, NHLS. Yeah.
Okay.
Cytolab, National Health Laboratory Services.
Very good.
Yeah.
So he's doing God's work there, Leanne.
Yes.
He's booking his place in heaven. He'll get in.
I'm converting people.
He's converting people. All right. So what do we do on a Monday?
Cry.
No.
No. Are you okay?
No, we do the opposite of that with Dr. Hanan. What's wrong with you?
Are you okay?
Sweet Jesus. I mean, here's the man. He wakes up early on a Monday morning to come and give us counseling en masse. It's like therapy at scale. And
he knows my brain. He knows that I cry on Mondays.
Well, all right.
Maybe that's why you need him. Maybe that's why you're on the Monday show, Leanne.
All right. So let's let people know whatever you have to ask Dr. Hanan, you can. You can send us your questions. We're going to do it live. How are you, Doc?
Yeah, I'm well. How are you guys? How's your weekend? How's your birthday?
Good. Yeah, good. Let's not get into the psychology of this, but usually I hate my birthday. I think I've clocked over now into the time where I love it again, or that I'm just, you kind of realize at some point that your birthday isn't so much about you anymore. It becomes about other people, which is also nice.
Absolutely.
Because then all you have to do is be gracious about accepting birthday wishes and compliments, which hopefully I'm getting better at, and therefore I had a lovely birthday.
Lovely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also not particularly worried about getting old. I'm looking forward to being the grumpiest, oldest man in the world. So I'm getting close to my goal.
You're working so hard at that.
I'm telling you, you have no idea how hard I work at being grumpy. Okay.
All right. How do you make sense of getting older? It's, you lose so much of X, but you gain so much of Y. So how do you make sense of that?
I really don't feel, maybe it's just, again, I have this wild and crazy ability to not remember too much of the bad stuff, right? So I really don't hold on to that stuff at all. You've obviously in conversations we've had with you before, you've spoken about how it's good to let go and not carry guilt and shame and all that stuff that some people are obsessed with in their lives. So I look at things in my life and I feel like it's getting better, not worse. I'll probably hit a point where I'm physically not able to do the things that I want to do, but that's a long way down the road. So until then, I just see it as like a constant improvement.
Right. Do you see yourself getting better, just better and better every year? Do you think you're a better version of yourself than you were last year?
Yeah, I mean, I do think, I think a lot of people over the past 3 years, it's kind of thrown us into a bit of disarray just because the whole world has changed so dramatically. And it put the brakes on a lot of things in the world. And you can definitely feel people are coming out of that now.
Right.
All right, so here we go. Let's go to Kala. I don't know if this is really a question for you, Doc, but my 8-year-old just asked, why are you so grumpy all the time? I told her it's because you haven't been able to talk about Trump today.
Meaning you. Why are you so grumpy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not something that you can help us with, Doc, right?
Grumpy Trumpy.
Why are you so grumpy this morning?
No, maybe it's worth just talking about how this one guy is just so adept at sucking all the oxygen out of the room. It's amazing to me. And we talk about narcissism and ego and all of that stuff. I am just blown away by how this one guy, he's easily the most famous person in the whole world right now. And it's still, he's still drawing more attention. Just when you think that you can't, the machine eventually has to break because the attention has to reach capacity. But it just doesn't seem to reach capacity with this guy. It must be exhausting to be him.
Did you watch the Carlson interview by any chance?
No, I haven't watched it. Mostly because it's long, and I don't feel like I'm going to get any answers to questions that I really want answers to. But am I missing anything?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's 45 minutes and it's really worth just to understand or kind of see the inner workings of this guy. The reason why it's so fascinating is because it's always interesting to watch somebody that's kind of walking that fine line between chaos and order. And you don't know when he's going to say something that's going to spark a massive wildfire, or he'll say something, he'll say something entertaining, or he'll say something quite profound. You just don't know. So you're always on edge with this guy. Is he gonna pick a fight with someone? Is he gonna tell somebody he's the greatest thing he's ever seen? What is he gonna do? You're just not sure, and that's why he draws attention.
Well, it must be exhausting for his wife or his family. I mean,
But Melania is having fun.
Maybe she only sees him once every 2 weeks. I don't know, but it must be pretty exhausting for her because he just seems to me like he has energy. How old is he now? 76 or something? He has more energy than most 30-year-olds I've ever met.
Yeah. Now you can't keep up with somebody that's inconsistent. I always say inconsistency equals zero value. You just don't invest in people that you can't predict. So I mean, I have some theories of how she handles him, but generally, if you have somebody in your life that is this inconsistent, you just kind of want to pull your energy away and invest in people that are predictable.
Right. So she's probably got a group of friends or a bank account somewhere that she can go and spend money and go shopping and that kind of thing just to get away from him because it can't be easy. All right. Yeah. So here's a serious question. I mean, Graham says, and I think we've kind of answered this before, but maybe you want to just give us the clinical definition of the word narcissist, because a lot of people throw it around, especially any girl who breaks up with any guy starts telling all her girlfriends he was a narcissist, which is not always true. Sometimes she's a massive pain in the ass. So tell us about narcissism.
So narcissism these days it is a common word that's kind of thrown around. Every single person that doesn't want to do what you want them to do is suddenly a full-blown narcissist. Don't worry about
Mandy. I promise you, he's a narcissist. I've never ever seen such narcissism in my life. It's just because he wanted to go and watch sport with his friends. Have you ever heard anything so narcissistic?
Exactly. Suddenly somebody sets healthy boundaries and they're a narcissist. They're saying no to you and they're a narcissist. So don't worry about the clinical definition. You just got to ask yourself, does that personality resonate with what I want to create for myself in the future? Can I build camp with this person? Is this person more involved with themselves than they are with things that are important to me? And if the answer is yes, then you should negotiate, compromise, communicate, or move on. And if the answer is no, you should completely continue to engage. The people get hopped or people get really attached to definitions and kind of they go through the DSM, which is our manual for diagnosing people. Don't worry about the definition. Just worry whether it fits into your life and your lifestyle and whether it resonates with what you want to create for yourself in the future.
All right. So Doc, what in real terms, can you give us a thumbsuck of what percentage of the population are really truly narcissistic? Is it a rare condition? Is it a very common thing? Is it something that 1 out of every 3 people is suffering in inverted commas? What's the story there?
No, it's under 5%. It's very rare.
Okay.
It's very rare for the true clinical definition. But again, if we kind of broaden the definition as, oh, he said no to me, or he didn't want to come to my friend's party, and he's a narcissist, and 99% of people out there are narcissists.
Okay. Right. I'm glad we covered that, because it annoys me as much as it annoys Graham. So let's look at this one quickly. Lee says a close friend is dating someone with an active drug addiction, and she's still seeing him. However, everyone in our group is advising that she leaves him. Any advice?
Yeah. Dealing with an addict is very difficult, because it's not just their addiction to the drug, but it's also a temperament thing. Are they pulling you away from your friends? Are they isolating you from your family? Are they more involved with the drug and spending more time with that than they do with you and your needs? So dealing with a drug addict is very, very difficult. Of course, there's severity to the addiction. But what I always say is that before, as a friend, you judge your friend for dating a drug addict. Because the reality is, you might turn to your friend and say, listen, leave him. But if there's emotions involved and there's love, she might rebel, and she might be attached to him even more. And she might be like a stuff you, well, I'm going to date him and prove you wrong. She might say to you, I'm going to leave him, but behind your back, she might still see him and date him and be attached to him in some way. So kind of say, well, leave him is not a solution. What I think your friend should do is, again, negotiate, compromise, communicate, ask for what you need in the relationship. And if the guy's able to fulfill it, well, then that's great.
But I mean, Doc, if he's hoovering up like line after line, and he's popping pills like a,
if it's that extreme, then of course you got to recommend that he gets some proper treatment.
Or that he joins the Rolling Stones.
Or teams up with Hunter Biden. But here's an extension of this question. Like, as from a friend point of view, in terms of psychologically, right? How do you support your friend? Because this is an extension of what you guys
find new friends.
This is what Yula and Lebang talked about, actually. What do you do if your friend is beating up? You find out your friend, lifetime, I think she said like 20 years, is beating up their wife. The wife is not your friend, but you know the wife through the friend. Now the friend is beating up the wife. Just like, so how do you position you as the friend who knows this abuser?
Who helps.
Yeah.
Rather than just throws them in. I just throw them, I cast them aside.
Yeah, that's what you said. You said like,
what do you do, Doc?
Friend. What do you do?
Is that wrong?
Doc? Do you talk to this guy? Stop beating up your wife? Do you intervene? Do you take yourself from the situation? Yeah. What do you do?
So you know what, guys, what I do, you must understand emotions versus logic, and emotion wins every time, unfortunately. So you can't beat emotion with logic. You got to beat emotion with experience. So what I would do is ask the person that's sitting in front of me, let's just say to the first story, well, your friend is dating a drug addict. What do you want from your life? And let's just jot it down. I want family. I want friends. I want intimacy. I want to feel desired. I want good communication. I want trust. Let's define that. And let's judge it on the next 6-week, 3-month period, and whether this particular person can give you that. And if they can, then that's great. And if they can't, then I'm going to push you to bungee jump. And if you reject me, then I'll reject you right back. In other words, if you don't listen to this rule set that we've created for ourselves together and agreed on, then I can no longer be in your presence. So to your point, if your friend is doing something that is outside of what you feel is right, then you say, this is where we're going to be in 6 months' time, or in 6 weeks' time, or in 3 weeks' time. If you're able to meet the benchmark, then we can continue playing the game as friends. And if not, then I'm going to walk away.
All right, there's some good advice. I'm afraid that's all we got time for. I was hoping for more insightful questions, but you know what? The audience is very disappointing today. What can I say?
No, Shem, there was another good one, but we might have to save it for another time.
No, there were a lot of good ones. I'm just being sarcastic. All right. That's why I'm not a
Still
therapist.
working at being grumpy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Doc. Always good to catch up with you. And we will see you again soon next week. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay.
Dr. Hanan Bushkin, everybody. I do feel, even when the advice isn't pertinent for me, I always feel good about Dr. Hanan being on a Monday.
You feel like it's going to be okay.
Everything's under control.
It's going to be okay. Right. Okay. So very good. Graham Rogers even saying, thanks, Doc. See, that's all. Just walk out of there and go, thanks, Doc. And there, but by the grace of God goes I.
Yeah.
You with your drug friend, and it's not my problem.
Yeah. But like the Lord Jesus Savior is the good news, and He'll save you if you convert. How many people, Leanne? What's the spreadsheet?
You go as many as you can is the rule.
Yeah, you need to
Very good.
You need to get those heaven
get
points.
to the top of the log.
Right. Okay, we'll be back in a moment or two. Leanne's talking about logs, so obviously she needs to go off to the loo.
Going for a
And
poo.
we'll be back in just a moment. All right,
Up next
everybody.
in the Auto Trader podcast. But maybe it's an indication, don't know this for sure, but maybe it's an indication that people's aspirations are closer to their reality.
People
So-
become a little bit more realistic.
Yes, because of the interest rate rises, inflation,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
Could be.
for sure. So what about so that's searches? Let's move down. Let's go down the funnel actually. And views. Let's talk about views. So 175 million CVs were opened in the last year. Polo was number 1. No surprise there. Ranger 2 and then Hilux 3. I mean, those are South Africa's favorite cars.
Well, Ranger and Hilux, both Buckies, which kind of shows you what people are viewing. But again, VW Polo, like aspiration is in line with reality. A little bit more in line with reality.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Perinatal depression surrounding the pregnancy and the first year after pregnancy, is not unique to women. It's something that I didn't know. I saw it in my reading, but I never knew this. And explain a little bit that men can also get postpartum depression.
Really? Yes.
That was my reaction, Simpiwe.
It's actually quite interesting because people don't think about the father, what happens for the father. Whereas the mother starts to rethink her own mothering and the mothering that she received. The father starts to rethink his parenting. And often if there's been a difficult relationship with his own dad, and sometimes even estrangement, they want to reconcile.
That was the T Health Show, empowering you with knowledge. Download all previous episodes on your favorite podcast platform. The T Health Show is brought to you by T Clinic.
Yeah, and maybe I'm old enough now to go and see Dr. Mark, get a whole bunch of stuff sorted out that I've been avoiding. Get those, because he offered me blood tests, and he's gonna give me the once over, Dr. Mark. And this is about 6 years ago. I still have the email sitting in my inbox. I'm like, I've got to get round to it.
It's not an easy thing to go through with.
No nonsense. I'm gonna go and do it.
Aren't you at that age where you're supposed to
I
get
just have
the
to do
prostate check?
I just have to do the simple blood test he's asked for, so you can figure out the levels of all the different stuff. But I mean, by the way, another thing we did this time last week, we had Discovery come in and do that wealth fund check on me.
Mm-hmm.
And they've uploaded all my results. And Buckabantu is very upset that my vitality age is 39. I'm very thrilled about that. What's your vitality age as compared with your actual age?
It's what,
You were
25? I'm
1
2
year
years younger.
difference. 2.
Yeah, 2 years
No,
younger.
but 2 years means soon you'll be very old. I've still got, I go,
Got 6 bonus years.
I've got 6 bonus years, 6 more years. All right, very nice. Okay, so listen to this. Apparently the Nyaupe mayor is going to stay.
Yeah.
We were all hoping he wouldn't, but here's the story. Kabelo Gwamanda, that's apparently his name,
Yep.
will not succeed as new kingmakers. Patriotic Alliance will not be voting for his removal. That's the motion against him.
Yeah.
This comes after Action SA filed a motion of no confidence against the mayor in June, citing allegations he scammed residents out of funeral insurance. He scammed residents out of funeral insurance through a Ponzi scheme, and he's our mayor. Oh, my God. Anyway, it could be worse. The Zimbabwean Electoral Commission has declared 80-year-old ZANU-PF incumbent Emerson Mnangagwa as the winner with a 52% of the vote. National opposition leader Nelson Chamisa, 45, half his age, who heads the Citizens of Coalition for Change, got 44%, according to an announcement for the. It doesn't matter, though, because Nelson Chamisa is basically going to be watching his back, running like Sergei Prigozhin or whatever his name was. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the guy from
the guy who had died accidentally.
Yeah.
Accidentally
when
in
a
a plane
wing
crash.
fell off his plane.
Like accidentally.
I'm sorry, like wings don't just come loose from the rest of the plane.
Don't they run through the bottom of the plane or something?
The wing is fairly important.
It's called fixed wing for a reason.
Correct. So when his wing came off of his plane, everyone in Russia is like, what an unfortunate series of events that led to this guy. He must have committed suicide in the plane before the wing came off.
Exactly. Like the leader of the Wagner group and his lieutenants, I think like 7 of them.
Yeah.
All just died mysteriously. They were all in the same plane.
That's a big news story, right? So what do I see on Sky News on Sunday in the gym? I see misogyny. So there's a story about a soccer coach who kissed the women's soccer captain after she scored a goal or something, but he kissed her full on the lips, and now they're accusing this man of misogyny because he kissed this footballer on the. I mean, really, Sky News. They've got to just set fire to that garbage truck and just let it trundle down the road full of flames.
So who do you trust more than them?
Then Sky News. Everyone, including
Kabelo Gwamanda,
including our Nyaupe mayor. I swear to God, like you cannot, and I cannot believe there's still people who watch Sky News and think they're watching news. I'll tell you something. If you want to depress yourself, and they had it on in the gym, I couldn't avoid it. If you want to depress yourself, I switched on my TV the other day for the first time in ages. It comes on, and it's on channel 402, I think it is. That's Sky, and there's that awful woman. What's her name? Oh, Kay Burley.
Yes.
Remember her?
Can't stand her.
Oh, she's this prognosticator.
So snooty.
She's so condescending all the time. It's like, and this person has just been in the news for doing this for a charity. And well, I don't know if that's really an achievement or she's just awful. She is the kind of person who, if you ended up sitting next to her at a dinner party, you would ask God to strike you with lightning.
She'll scoff at you while you scarf down your food.
Yeah, she's just so, she is so snooty and condescending. And she's got no reason to be because she's well long in the tooth. I mean, she's been on TV since I was a child.
Yeah.
And believe me, like, she wasn't a looker to start with. and she's never been that good at news. She's been very good at being just generally awful to everyone who ever comes into the studio. How she can start a show. So if you see her on TV, it will make your day worse.
Yeah. Do you remember you said to Mabala and I, couldn't we dress better like Kay Burley? and so the next day we came in with 80s women's power suits and bad lipstick and big hair.
That's right. And obviously I was kidding because I preferred what you were wearing before. All right. This is also quite a good one. Apparently when President Xi was here, he took over the presidential suite at one of the hotels. I still want to know which one.
What was the Maslow thing?
It could have been in the Maslow here.
Because it had a whole lot of, those were Russian
No,
or
it was
Chinese
flags.
Probably there. Anyway, he apparently came in. So Becky Cele is our source for this one.
Yes.
He's more reliable than Kay Burley too. A month before the BRICS summit, he was only staying here for a week?
Not even,
like 4 days.
The summit was only from Tuesday to Thursday.
Yeah, he came in late and
they
left early.
remodeled the entire hotel suite for him. Personalized furnishings were brought from China to Johannesburg. The presidential suite was completely changed. They brought the bed, the mattress, carpets, everything, their cups. There was nothing South African in that room.
Yeah.
No, that's terrible. I mean, firstly, what does he think we're annoying?
Well, I mean,
it's such an opportunity for him to be exposed to how South Africa.
And these are people who we want to be friends with in the international community. That he won't drink from a South African cup
or sleep in a South African bed.
Yeah.
No,
so how much does he really like us? That's what I'm asking. How much does he really like us?
But Cyril was clapping.
How spoiled is he?
Yeah, but Cyril was clapping and applauding for that.
Cyril will do whatever he's told by the Chinese. Don't for a minute think anything else. It's just so he wouldn't have our carpets. They had to remodel the whole goddamn presidential suite for him.
Imagine going to China and bringing your South African bedroom. What's the point?
And I think he just left the stuff here.
Of course he does. What do you think? He doesn't need it again. He's like got it all back in China waiting for him there already.
Buy a bed just for 3 nights.
Yeah. I'm going to go and book that hotel room now. I want to go and
you want to be in bed with the Chinese president.
I want to bounce on that bed. I want to see how good that bed is. If it's good enough for President Xi, I want to try it.
So odd.
Find the little pubic hair.
Oh no.
Find little pubic hair.
Oh no.
Go in, haven't cleaned it since Xi left. They're like, wow, Xi's ass hairs are still in this bed.
on the soap in the shower.
Yeah. Oh. There's some Chinese carbolic soap.
Wait, do you think he bathes himself?
What do you think?
Himself.
Bathes himself. What do you think he has people who scrub him down?
I think so.
No.
He's an emperor.
Yeah.
Maybe they just pour milk into a bath while he lies there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just.
But
I'm always blown away by how much money they spend just buttering up and kowtowing to the egos of these.
But we know how thin-skinned he is, though.
Massively touchy about everything.
About everything. So obviously, do you think he'd want that? He'd want a South African touching him?
No, he wouldn't want. No, but no one's scrubbing him down. He washes himself. He's a grown man. He's not an invalid.
You just never know.
Who wants someone else to climb in the shower with you? What are you kidding?
Hey, we don't know what Dr. Biden is doing to President Biden.
No. But he needs to be wheeled around. No, he's a disaster.
He's definitely got
She's not a disaster. She's still very compos mentis and seemingly he's not an invalid or senile like Joe Biden. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. He's president.
If you were, so this tells us more about you than it does about G. If you were...
No, if I was Supreme Leader of the People's Republic of China.
You would have someone scrub you down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all about, as I said, it tells us more about you.
This is the same man who locked people in their houses.
That's what you would go for? You would go for someone to scrub you down?
If I am the Supreme Leader...
That would be on your list of stuff that you'd want on a foreign tour?
I'd be like, yeah.
It's a strange thing to ask.
South Africans, come clean me.
I'd be like, show me some of the sites. And this is why I'm annoyed that he didn't want anything South African in his room.
Yeah, it was such an opportunity to put in, to have that place decorated by South African designers.
Does he think we're such Cro-Magnon men that there's nothing that we can teach him? There's nothing good that we make in this country? He's like, that place is so shit. I don't even want a cup from them.
Yeah, not even a cup.
Not even a cup. I want that whole room redone top to bottom because that shithole country can't possibly do anything that I would want to see or touch or be around.
That's what it feels like.
Make it all Chinese, all of it Chinese. Get rid of all this South African thing. That's what he said. Clearly, that was the rule. Like, fuck you, man. I mean, I'm really fucking pissed off. Like, you don't go to someone's house and then complain about their fucking interior decor or their cups.
You don't go to China and take your whole bedroom with you.
I'm really annoyed now. Like, who Who you think you are,
Unless-
President Xi?
Unless he had has severe allergies or something, but then he wouldn't. It can't be. It just makes me feel neglected, like dejected.
Okay, so devil's advocate, right?
But not even. We have some things with him. I'm sure he would like to try.
No,
I mean, we have how about some rooibos tea? You're telling me that's not good for him? No, bring my green Chinese tea.
Yeah, from that cup.
The cup that you've imported all the way from Beijing.
Yeah. But that's what the Chinese do, though. The Chinese come to a place and they bring their own
No,
stuff.
don't paint them all with the same brush. I'm talking about him. I don't have a problem with Chinese people. I don't have a problem with China. China. And I have no problem with us being friends with China.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, who knows that it isn't a better, like Canton is hugely on this. China might be a better partner for us than the US.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, maybe. I'm not talking about that. We had that discussion last week. I'm saying go to someone's house and you want them to remodel the room, take out everything that's South African and put in all of their stuff because you think so little of us?
That's what it feels like, yeah.
It's just rude. It's very bad manners.
Like you didn't even give us a chance.
It's very bad manners. I mean, he could have had some oros. That's not so bad. Some rooibos tea. What else would we put in there?
Tin mug.
Yeah, like a nice enamel
Rusks.
mug.
Omar rusks.
Rusks.
Yes.
Omar rusks.
Yeah.
The guy's missing out. That's all I'm saying.
He had his sushi with his Mrs. Bowles
Sushi's
chutney.
Japanese. I know, but it's all Don't be so racist. So he could have had some chutney on something.
Yeah, chutney.
That's a big
Mrs.
thing. We
Bowles.
export that.
Aromatic.
Could have had some of
eggs.
our fine wines. We have good wines in this country.
Biltong.
Biltong, man. Dude, you missed out.
And just like the artwork and things from our interior designers.
Virus, being racist, says, I'm sure you would have liked a rhino horn. No. No, we're not going to. A hooker from Braamfontein. See, people immediately go for the last and the worst bit. Give him Omar rusks. There we go. Non-dog meat biltong.
Non-dog meat.
No,
Okay.
guys,
I love that
oh my
non-dog
God.
meat biltong.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, listen, I do think it's just not. It's not very well. It's not. You're not a good person. You're not a well-mannered guest if you choose to.
You're supposed to be as a national leader,
I mean,
somebody who's
we didn't
used to
charge him for
traveling
that.
and
Did we charge him for that hotel room?
No.
Guaranteed,
No
we
way.
paid for it.
We paid for it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good enough for we can pay for your room, but you'll remodel the whole thing?
Yeah.
No, it's just rude. I
down
have a
to
big
the
problem with
rug,
him.
down to the mug.
I'm very upset with this guy now.
You're like, yeah,
I was such a fan beforehand.
Guys
No.
were like best friends.
I was such a fan when he, when he was doing the Uyghur genocide, but now this is where I draw the line.
Ooh, the Uyghur genocide.
The Uyghur genocide. Yeah, let's not forget about that.
The concentration camps.
Well, now that I've brought that up, he's gonna think twice about coming here again. That's what I wanted. Just you think twice, you President Xi. All right. So listen, we're always beating ourselves up, and maybe we deserve it about what a mess so much of our country is. There's litter everywhere, there's plastic everywhere, all of that garbage, right? And we really are an untidy bunch. And really, I mean, you could go down pretty much any street in South Africa and you will see garbage on the side of the roads, like stuff flowing. Like we have no self-respect and dignity. Maybe this is why Xi won't stay in our hotel rooms. Maybe we got to look at ourselves first. Anyway, it's not just us, because Lake Geneva, which is in Switzerland, supposedly one of the cleanest places, they tested plastic pollution levels in Lake Geneva. They're as high as those in the oceans.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been considered a near pristine body of water, but now research finds that there is as much plastic in Lake Geneva as there is in the ocean. And the ocean, there's countries that just empty all their stuff into the ocean.
Oh, they're barges cleaning up barge loads of plastic as we speak.
There's that plastic island in the middle of the Pacific,
yeah,
where the tides
they
just keep this huge plastic island afloat. It's disgusting. So clearly Lake Geneva is also bad. How bad is that?
I wonder if it's like plastic particles that they're picking up.
It's probably that. It's probably microplastics and all this stuff. And
Still not great, right?
It's still not great, especially seeing that this is a first world country and South Africa is also worried about paper straws. I don't want to go down this train again.
But there's an update on paper straws.
Oh, yeah?
We may have hinted at this the other day. Turns out that the paper straws have some carcinogenic and
jeez.
horrible chemicals in them, which may be even worse for us and for the environment than the plastic straws.
But they've come up with now a
biodegradable.
Use your words.
biodegradable
Yes.
plastic type of straw. It feels like plastic, looks like plastic, but it's not.
Can we just use the stuff we always used? Can you just use plastic straws? Just go to McDonald's and get a plastic straw and not make a soup. Like,
I love me a plastic straw. I don't want
I
to
don't
use
even like the metal
paper
ones.
The metal ones are awful.
Oh, I've got such textural issues with paper. I can barely touch normal paper. Like if I see a person spreading out a double spread of newspaper with their hands, my teeth.
Really?
my
That
teeth
gets you
scream.
all fired up?
Yeah, I've got goosebumps right now.
From what? From paper?
Yeah.
Get Dr. Hanan back.
we have a case here,
Huge
Dr. Hanan.
sensory
Got a
issues.
big problem here.
Like putting a paper straw in my mouth is a big problem for me.
All right, so Leanne's got a story for us, so we've got to move on from paper, otherwise she'll get hives. Who do you think the oldest known phone developer is? App developer.
App developer, yeah.
So, you got apps all over your phone and you don't know who develops them. Might be someone down the road. It might be someone who's at some big lab in California.
So the oldest known person to develop an app for iPhone or whichever is, she's actually 83 years old now.
Sure.
From Japan. And her name is Masako Wakamiya. She first began working on apps when she was in her late 70s. She got her first computer.
Does this app warn you if you're going to pee a little?
Close. She got her first computer only at the age of 57.
Yeah.
She absolutely loved it and was, amazed. And then she wanted to develop an app in conjunction with a developer, but all of them turned around and said to her, the type of app that you want, only people your age, know about. So she's decided
like, there's a huge market for this.
Yeah. So she decided to learn programming, taught herself coding.
Good for her.
And insisted on building this app. And at the age of 82, it finally came to fruition.
Well, considering the average age of, the whole of Japan, as someone says in the comments here, that everyone in Japan is over 70 years old. So she's sprightly by comparison with the
and she really
age.
is. She does all these TED Talks and
Good for her.
lectures, and she's very, very sprightly. She's still working like every single day.
App? What does her app do?
It's
do we need to
difficult
download it?
It's to help older people in Japan stay connected, and also get their fingers used to technology and keep them used to advancing technology. So the actual game is based on, it's got these little icons. It's based on a specific festival that happens in China. In Japan, that has these little characters that only people from her era know about.
Wow. It's like a game that the young people can't play.
Yes. So that's why the young developers were like, we can't help you with this. So she just did it herself.
And the app is called Fuck You Young.
No, it's called Hinadan. So close.
Almost. I got one wrong.
It's the first dedicated app game for over 60s. She's now in such demand that this year Apple invited her to participate at their developers conference.
Good.
And she was the oldest app created to take place. So Hinadan is the doll staircase. Was inspired by the Hina Matsuri, a doll festival which takes place every March, where ornamental
she's
dolls,
saying this like she knows all about this festival.
ornamental dolls representing the emperor, his family, and their guests are displayed in a specific arrangement. So it's got to do with hierarchy and knowing your Japanese history.
Right, that would be a big thing in Japan. That's cool.
Well, it's big in Japan, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, well, good for her. She's 82 and she's developing apps. And what is your gran doing? She's slobbering in the old age home, waiting for the pudding. This is what she should be doing. She should be doing this.
Should be making apps.
Right. Come on. Get on it. Yeah, I'm going straight down the road here to the nearest old age home and whip those people into action. Maybe like, what are you people sitting around here for? Stop playing bingo and start making apps. This is why the economy is suffering, because you haven't done any work today.
Teach yourself coding.
Mildred, put down the pudding. Get back to your coding.
Yeah.
Arthritis is not very good with the keyboard.
I don't want to hear excuses. Get your arthritic hands on that keyboard and make an app. You've got until 2:30 this afternoon, or I'm taking away all your diaper privileges. See, this is why I'm not in charge of old age homes.
So the Japanese are putting the old to work and the Chinese are putting the kids to work. So it's a perfect balance.
Yeah, well, I've had enough of these lazy old people. Frankly, this retirement thing is just nonsense. And now that this lady has come out of the news and we now know about her at 82 years old developing apps, I am not going to tolerate anyone who says they're retiring before the age of 85. Get back to work.
Yeah. She says she owes her
Get on that treadmill.
Her good health down to having an active mind and life.
Right.
She says,
Look at her. She looks great.
No, she does.
Here she is. Let's just put her up again. Look at that. She looks better than Joe Biden.
Oh, 100%.
And then there's an excellent story I want to squeeze in about heavy drinking monkeys.
Those heavy drinking monkeys.
Before you think this is some reference to South Africans and binge drinking, here is a photograph of a real drunk that I know. His name is Biddy. he's been in the Pretoria Zoo for the last 18 years, and he has a serious problem. He goes to meetings. That's how we know he's got a problem. Tell me about these apes.
Right. So, do you remember when we went to the Jane Goodall Institute?
Yes.
In
Okay.
Mpumalanga.
Let's tell Bakabantu about this.
And a lot of the chimps there.
Chimp Eden.
Yes. A lot of the chimps there are alcoholics or recovering alcoholics. It sounds like the most bizarre thing, but it's actually really common. These are chimps that have been trained in circuses, in backstreet circuses. They're kept as pets and encouraged to drink alcohol. There was one chimp there who used to be like a doorman at a club, and they would give him. He would sit there with his cigars and alcohol, and exact same effects like of withdrawal and addiction when it comes to monkeys and us, right? So
what they don't tell you is that the monkeys at least made it to Chimp Eden and got sober. The human owners of those monkeys are now well underground.
Yeah, for sure. So they've been doing extreme gene therapy treatment on a bunch of alcoholic monkeys.
Okay.
So just to let you know,
it's not cruel, is it?
These monkeys were not made into alcoholics for this test. For this,
they were already alcoholics.
Yes.
So don't start them. Yeah,
don't start with your
Brandewyn on a Thursday.
And they found this extreme gene therapy can slash drinking and help with alcoholism in 90% of monkeys. This is a massive breakthrough for humans.
They could do that to humans.
Is this monkeys or apes?
Doesn't matter. They're all in the same genus
monkeys,
as us.
Apes, same thing.
We're all primates. Don't get all specific here. Leanne monkey, Gareth monkey.
Yeah.
What kind of monkey are you looking for? We're all apes. So the good news is, why this is important actually, is that the chances of succeeding with gene therapy in apes and curing them of alcoholism is probably not too much of a leap from doing the same with humans.
Exactly. All it takes is a single shot of this gene therapy injected into the brain, and it dramatically reduces your alcohol consumption.
Does it make you boring at parties?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's all got to do with dopamine, and this is where alcoholics battle the most. They can come off of the alcohol, but there is the actual addiction lies in needing the dopamine.
Yeah.
So you start feeling bored with yourself and in social settings because you're not getting that dopamine high anymore, which alcohol gives you temporarily. In the meantime, long time abuse of alcohol will diminish your dopamine levels completely. So this is about changing the genes in your brain in order to treat the dopamine deficit.
So it's not going to stop you from being an addict.
Yeah.
It's just going to give you the dopamine in a different way.
So
it's
the
also
higher
a drug.
your dopamine, the less you're going to want to drink.
Aha.
Yeah.
Or need to drink in
Would
order
you do
to.
this?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
would. I mean, if I could be in a social situation where
You're sober.
I'm not thinking, geez, I need a glass of wine to get through this.
Oh, wow. That happens to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I find other people boring.
Welcome to my life. That's why I started tequila.
So
you do this?
No, so I would never do this. This is the law of diminishing returns. I think anything. So now, what changes this shot from? Like, is it one shot or do I need a continuous shot?
One shot a year.
Exactly. So now that's the new drug.
Now big farmers getting
big
involved.
Pharma, exactly. See now, it's a new drug. It's a new high. It's a replacement for the alcohol.
Maybe it's a healthier replacement for the alcohol.
I am for science, after all. Yeah, maybe it is a replacement for the alcohol because you don't get the other side effects, but you're kind of getting an unnatural high from this shot.
I honestly, we've discussed this before on the show. I just don't know what we will do as South Africans. What do you do at a party? Because if I don't drink or I don't drink with other people, I don't know what to do.
It's also, remember, it's very different for us inlanders here
Imagine
in
you
Joburg.
have to talk to people and have meaningful conversation the whole time. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Let's have a drink. Look, that guy's so. Let's give him another one.
It happens a lot because we're in Joburg as well. There are less distractions like the sea and, I
don't know,
those sort of things. We're just like in a bit of a concrete jungle.
But it depends what you're drinking for. I think if you're drinking like socially for fun, that's better. If you're drinking because you're trying to like down something, like you can't stand the people, so like I'm just gonna like need a glass of wine before I can stand Gareth, that's a problem. So
it is. And it's the same for like
I just drink for fun, so to me this is completely moot.
Exactly.
It's very much linked to people with ADHD, which I have myself. And it's very much linked to that search for dopamine all the time. You never want to not have that rush.
Get a chocolate.
So all these drunk monkeys are making their way to sobriety.
Good for them. All I can say is stay strong, friends. Remember your steps.
There's a funny story about this monkey who
wear a bracelet so that your what do they call them? Your
like your medical alert bracelet?
No, man. What do they call the person who your sponsor? You have to check in with your sponsor. Tico the ape. Make sure you don't forget to check in with your sponsor. And for God's sake, make sure your sponsor isn't Trevor Gumbi or Leanne Mole.
No, it's not a good idea.
Because they're going to say, have another one.
It's okay. It's just one. Go for it.
It's just one.
We had a class trip back in the day where we met a monkey, like a drunk monkey, apparently. So the monkey just died.
But you just met it, what? Like
No.
He walked into your...
What do you mean like met him? Did you say, how's it? How you doing?
How's it? Yeah, he's very civilized. He was wearing shirts and whatnot. So we had this sanctuary in Cape Town, very civilized. And then, so we were drinking from squeeze bottles. And then he kept on reaching for the squeeze bottles. And then the person had to explain, oh no, like the owner used to make him drink like he was the drinking buddy. So he's still addicted. So I've met an addicted like chimpanzee.
Oh, wait a second. You just made me think that's a cool thing to have as an old person. I'm going to have a drinking buddy who's a monkey.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. And the chimpanzee could keep up cigarettes.
Yeah.
So they still kept him on the cigarette.
together as well, huh?
Yeah. They still gave him a packet of cigarettes a day. Could light it up himself and go like, and it was just smoke.
Yeah, it happens, people. It's out there.
You're against this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, absolutely. I think
it's
purely for human pleasure.
I should put Tico the chimp in the cage when you come.
But chimpanzees are like 2% removed from humans, like genetically speaking. Yeah. So like they basically humans. Let's just let them have like they want.
Man.
Life is hard for a chimp.
You don't want a very drunk chimp after you. Imagine he starts getting like vuss.
Aggressive.
He'll peel off your face.
Yeah, but you don't get Afrikaans chimps for that reason. And you don't give them Vrouslaan and Coke, right? You don't give them a police coffee. You give them like something that's an upper.
Like,
you got to be careful. How's that any different to having an Afrikaans mate who gets to?
You do get drunk. I mean, Afrikaans chimps. I'm sure.
Of course you do. Of course you do. They drive buckies.
Hey, now don't pick up people from the West Rand. Ryan was just here.
I actually think this is very important. This is very good research. This is tremendous for all of humanity and for our brother and sister apes as well.
No.
It's good shit. Get them off the booze. You're right, though, Leanna. I mean, an aggressive chimp is not a fun thing to have around.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just recently, remember that woman who had her face torn
face
off
ripper
by
chimp,
her friend's chimp?
Yeah, there was a face ripper chimp. Yeah.
She only quite recently came out with her face fully revealed.
Well, no, have you seen? It's not so great. Still wouldn't want to kiss
And
her.
even at Chimp Eden, there was one of the people who worked there. I think he was actually killed, pulled through the cage.
Yeah, they're very strong.
Yeah.
Very strong. And they don't like men.
Well, the thing
if
is,
you're the alpha male in the chimp thing and a human male gets in there, apparently what they do, they pull off your arms and your legs and your cock.
Yeah.
They do.
Pull all
and
those.
they pull the skin off your face.
And then they face rip, yeah.
You know
Nice.
Shaq, the basketball player?
Yeah,
Mm.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal. So Shaq is like, every time he went to zoos, he always felt weird. Then this zookeeper finally explained it to him that
Because he's a big, intimidating guy,
exactly.
right?
So the gorillas used to
Oh,
walk
wow.
up to him and
Yeah, they didn't like him.
Yeah, they didn't like him at all. So then this
If
guy
you're a
finally
weedy, little small guy, they're not going to worry
yeah,
about it.
but they used to like want to establish dominance with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
So he used to be weirded out at zoos until someone explained it, dude. You're
Yeah, that makes a
intimidating.
lot of
Yeah.
sense.
But also,
Because he's so tall as
you
well.
must remember that these chimps that are in even institutes where they're being looked after properly, a lot of them have mental disorders and terrible history. History
Abuse.
of their mothers being killed in front of them, etc. And in zoos, there may be just absolute frustration and boredom for them to do that. So I would like to see.
Have you noticed, though, it's so interesting that you go to a zoo. Would you like to see before I carry on with this?
I'd like to see what his situation would be, Shaq's situation, being in the outdoors where you interact with gorillas in nature.
I don't know if he wants to.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure if I was Shaq, I'd be in a hurry to do that because
Wow.
it is just an establishing dominance thing for a lot of these creatures. You know, it's not
Like purely
but
down to size.
Have you noticed, though, that if you go to any of these zoos, and I know you don't like zoos, and I'm kind of on your side on this one, but even in nature reserves and the rest of it, people we cannot see enough primates because they're so close to us. They have little facial expressions. They do things that they are the most interesting things you will see.
Absolutely.
You know, the other animals we're slightly further removed from. We can't really anthropomorphize them like we do primates. We always think, I know what that one's thinking.
And then you get this like tribe of Maasai people who are hunting chimpanzees in Africa.
Ooh.
That's very scary. That's very close to cannibalism.
Uh-huh.
Like this tribe,
Bushmeat.
Yeah, this tribe just chases them the entire day. Like there's an entire documentary where this guy was just following them. They don't sweat. They don't do anything. They just chase these apes, and they like the cock is the best part of it, the animal. So
Right, is that what they want?
Yeah. So the one who gets the kill gets to eat the cock and balls.
Wow. That's just like the chimps would do.
I would not want to mess with a troop of chimps, that's for sure.
Gareth, would you adopt the flinging the poo habit with your chimp partner, says Joking Atheist? I think that's a very important question, but we just don't have time for it today.
Well, there was that one chimp where we were at Chimp Eden who was behind a particularly high fence, and we were too, because he was throwing bricks and rocks at us.
Yeah, didn't I adopt him? I think I
you
paid to.
did.
He was the one I
He was
wanted.
the maddest, so you loved him the most.
Yeah, and he was deranged.
Yeah.
My favorite by a long way. Basically, he was like cross-eyed and just
All
cross.
alone.
He was so angry.
No one was with him.
No, none of the other chimps wanted anything to do with him. I was like, that's the one I'm going to pay for.
I want that one.
So I think I sponsored him for a year. I was his sponsor.
You were a sponsor.
Now
you
I know
check
what
up on
those.
him?
Now I know what those missed calls were. Oh, no
Those
wonder.
happy birthday tests.
He's relapsed. He's definitely relapsed. Ay vey. What did I do? What a disaster. All right, Ryan, what is happening here? We want to catch up with the Wealth Fund and Discovery. After last week, we want to see what's going on there. Yeah, let's bring them in. So let me just tell you about this. At the start of 2023, Discovery Health Medical Scheme launched a once-in-a-lifetime benefit called the Wealth Fund. Now, Leanne, you were here last week when we had Dr. Ryan Noach in, and he explained to us what the Wealth Fund was. And I even did a whole bunch of tests, which is what you can do too. And it's very easy. You go onto their website. If you're a member, you can go and find out what it is, get your tests done, and then they can keep track of these things. It's very important to know what's going on. And preventative health checks is what we're going to carry on talking about today. When last did you get yours done?
Well, I just recently had surgery, so I had quite a few tests ahead of that. A lot of blood tests,
Right?
Liver, all those things were tested.
Did you have a liver for them to test?
Yeah.
Did your liver pass the test?
I never saw the results actually.
They kept them away
because they sent them to Los Alamos in America.
They're like, we need a specialist to look through these.
Radioactive.
No, they approved my surgery, so it couldn't have been too bad.
Well, if you are a Discovery Health Medical Scheme member like I am, you can unlock this benefit and do your annual health check. And it sounds simple enough, but we'll get into a little bit more about that now. We have Dr. Ron Whelan, who's the Chief Commercial Officer at Discovery Health, with us to speak about the Wealth Fund and the essential screenings, especially for men, Bakabantu. So you and I need to be paying attention to this. So, Doc, very welcome. Very much welcome to you this morning.
Very much welcome to you.
Very much welcome. Yeah. There we go. I sound like Cyril Ramaphosa. How are you? Nice to have you here. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Great to be here. And I guess as a starting point, it's great to hear that you're a Discovery Health Medical Scheme member. I wasn't aware.
And I passed my test with flying colors the other day.
Yeah, they did really well.
They were a little bit worried about the blood pressure, but I think it was because we're in the studio and there's a lot going on. I did 2 afterwards and came out clean. So
they call that white coat syndrome.
Yes, that was it.
Okay, so that's when you get nervous around doctors.
And also because people, like everyone who's listening to us, is also going to hear your results. So that puts pressure on you too.
Then I'm also in the room, like scaring you, like
that's true.
Intimidating you, like all the time.
They did the HIV test again. And we've done a lot of those on air, though.
Yeah.
But the thing here is that it is so simple, and people just, life kind of gets ahead of you and you forget to do these things. And if you pick up on potential problem areas early on, like we were talking to Dr. Noach about the other day, it just seems to me like such an obvious thing that we should all be doing. Why is it that men in particular, because that's what you're here to talk to us about today. I mean, I think maybe women are just better at they sit and they talk to each other and, I had this done. And, they're aware of the things that are going on, because also women are much more nurturing and thoughtful. And with guys, we're like, well, I'll only deal with this when it's a problem. Is that right? Is that what you discover?
Yeah, we certainly see some of that. There is a bit of a macho complex, if you will, amongst your men.
So stupid.
Figure it out when it's really bad.
Yeah. Like when I'm peeing blood, I'll go and check this out. Right, Doc?
Whereas I think what we find in particular in cancers, if you pick them up early, you can treat and cure them. If you pick them up late, they become much, much more complex, much more costly to treat. Much greater risk of ending up in hospital with serious surgeries and radiation and oncology treatment. But early cancers are eminently solvable nowadays. If you look at your breast cancer, for example, in women, pick up stage 1 and stage 2 breast cancer, it's eminently treatable and curable. Pick it up at stage 3 and stage 4, it unfortunately becomes a lot harder.
And we were talking to Dr. Noach about cancer in particular. He said to us that breast cancer, which you just indicated now, is the most common form. And then there's prostate cancer, which guys, it's almost like a big joke. Oh, how old are you now? You need to go for your first prostate exam. But these days you do blood tests. There are all kinds of things that you have to do. And it's very easy to figure out whether there's a risk.
Yeah, very, very easy. I think it's worth mentioning that prostate cancer is very common. And the older you get, and we're certainly living to longer ages now, men are at high risk of prostate cancer and prostate hypertrophy. In addition to that, I think it's important to point out that testicular cancer is a big risk. And you got to be monitoring for testicular cancer and regular self-examinations. Same way women do self-examinations on breast cancer, men should do self-examinations on testicular cancer. And any small nodule in your testicles is something to explore, and certainly something that remains. And then, of course, we've got colon cancer amongst both men and women that is rising in prevalence at the moment, that we've got to be watching out for. And then, the last one I want to mention is from a South Africa context. And we live in a very sunny country in South Africa, which is terrific. And particularly as we're heading into spring now and so sort of seeing summer holidays on the horizon, skin cancer is a big deal.
Right. And don't think because you're black, Bakabantu, you won't get skin cancer, right?
No.
I know you don't, but I mean, a lot of people think that that's not an issue.
It really is, though. But in terms of what you were talking about, guys, it seems so simple, right? And what I think Discovery is doing, and like trying to make public about these tests. These tests are like a blood shot. You're testing your blood pressure, just keeping up to date once a year, just to check up yourself. That's called preventative medicine.
Yeah.
And in South Africa, because of socioeconomic issues and whatnot, and also like the macho complex, also people are scared of doctors in general. In South Africa, we are just very skeptical of doctors. That's why we had a vaccine problem. But anyway, like, so now we don't prioritize our own self-being. It's about survival. But now what we need to realize and reprogram our heads is that we need to catch these things early instead of, it's better, treatment, like what preventing is better than treatment.
Yeah.
So I think that's where medicine should be. And then that's where Discovery comes in. I'm also a Discovery client. So I get my test checks done. I get everything done. I'm also a hypertensive. So I do like kidney tests like twice a year. So all of this stuff is for good. And then you also need to know your family history.
Yeah.
That's another thing people don't talk about. You need to know what mom died for, what grandma died for, because when she said she had a heartburn, it was not really a heartburn, it was probably a heart attack. So you need to know, and you need to check these things up. But people don't do it. But Discovery has made this stuff accessible.
And not only, listen, there's no such thing as altruism. It's also, it makes sense from the medical scheme's point of view that you try to keep people healthy and you don't let things get to the point where they become hugely expensive.
Then everyone wins.
Exactly. Otherwise, we all have to pay for those people who haven't looked after themselves.
Yeah, it's exactly right. That is the premise of Discovery. Discovery runs what we call a shared value model. And to the extent that members are able to keep themselves healthier, it lowers the cost on the scheme. If it lowers on the cost of the scheme, that's good for all of us because we all contribute into the contributions and the risk benefits for the scheme. It runs as a mutual or not for profit, and lower healthcare costs means lower contributions. And
makes sense.
That's great for all of us.
So just explain what this 10,000 Rand in screening funding that you allocate per membership is all about. How does that actually work?
So the Wealth Fund is a very innovative benefit, only available for the next 2 years across Discovery Health Medical Scheme. It's designed to catch up on the screening that we missed during COVID. So you'll remember when we went into hard lockdown during 2020 and to some extent in 2021, what did people do? They stopped going to their doctors and they stopped screening. So we saw a dramatic reduction in our annual health checks. In fact, a 52% reduction in annual health checks. Wealth Fund over the next 2 years is designed to catch up on that screening deficit, to make sure that we've got all of the metrics and that you're well aware of your health. It's interesting, you mentioned earlier on that we tend to not track our health on an annual basis. We track everything else. We track our budget and our finances on a monthly
your
basis.
steps, your running routes.
Exactly. We track everything. I was watching the Grand Prix yesterday, and if you a Formula One fan, it's amazing how many metrics you track on a Formula One car. There's over 600 sensors on a Formula One car. We track just about every single metric there. And what do we do with our health? Well, we go for a check every now and again. So if you think of your body as a Formula One car, with all of these sensors
I definitely think of mine as that.
well, you do have that new hip.
Felt.
Yeah, she's got a
streamlined,
new hip.
purring.
But this is terrific. So you said also, I think this is important. Like you've got to do it now. Don't wait because it's not going to last forever. This opportunity to get yourself tested. And if you are already a member, then you should prioritize this. If you're not a member already, maybe this is something that will convince you to become one.
Yeah, that would be great. So it's available to new members as well. If you join the Discovery Health Medical Scheme, the Wealth Fund is immediately available to you. Interestingly, we're paying out over 50 million Rand a month in screening benefits through the Wealth Fund. So it really is being utilized across the system. It's very easy to unlock. All you need to do is to go for your annual health check. If you've got kids, they can do an online screening health check, and that unlocks the Wealth Fund. It's up to 10,000 Rand per family. So the way it works is 2,500 Rand for the principal member plus an additional adult, and then 1,250 Rand for each kid. So for example, my family is 2 adults and 3 kids. It's 2,500 for my wife and I, and 1,250 Rand for each of my 3 kids. That gives me 8,750 Rands worth of benefits for the next 2 years.
And what kinds of tests are we talking about here? Because
what doctor can you go to? Where do you start?
Yeah, so it's really designed to be top to toe. It starts all the way from the head to the toe, literally speaking. So the head, we have a range of mental health benefits as part of some of the mental health stuff. Down to the toe, we have podiatrist benefits. So you can go and see a podiatrist. Podiatry consults are particularly important if you're living with diabetes. But then it includes eye exams, so optometry assessments. I know I need to go for one now. I went for one last year, and the optometrist said you're on the cusp of glasses. So I'm going to use that this year. It includes a dental screening. So we're going to take all three of our kids for their dental checkups this year, is included in the Wealth Fund.
Superb.
Includes hearing screening.
Got to do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's and then a range of cancer screenings as well: breast, prostate, colon, skin cancer. You can go and see a dermatologist, for example, if you're at risk of skin cancer. So I think you can get a sense. It's a very
so what I did the
comprehensive.
other day was just really scratching the surface. I've got to go for all these other ones as well. Make full use of this thing.
So the best way to use it, Gareth, is to start with a consult with your doctor and identify the specific risk factors and your age factors, and actually craft out a plan for what makes most sense to you. So I think you're roughly the same age as I am. I think you're 45, if I remember.
That's correct.
So 45 is an interesting age. It puts you just on the cusp of now colon cancer screening. So for the first time, you could start to do some colon cancer screening. In fact, I'm going to do exactly the same. I've booked a colon cancer screening alongside one of my best friends and my cousin, who I've grown up with over several years. We're going to go as a group.
There's a mutual support club.
You have to have a colonoscopy for that.
So the colon cancer screening starts out with what we call a fecal occult blood test. What it looks for is microscopic blood in your stool samples. It's very, very effective at picking up any lesions across your bowel. And then the Wealth Fund will cover a colonoscopy as well. And colonoscopies sound frightening. They're actually relatively easy procedures to do.
I've had a gastroscopy from the top end.
Okay.
I enjoyed the sedatives. I'll tell you that much.
Me too.
So these are the kinds of things you should start doing. And then how do you kind of encourage family and friends? Because I think what Bakabantu said now, you're going along with your cousin, and you know, this is cool because people need to feel like it's okay. And as Bakabantu said just now, there are a lot of people who are nervous about these things. They've got ideas that if you go and scratch around here, then you're going to find something wrong. So rather just be blissfully ignorant. That's no way to live.
But it's also, it's usually the women in the family, again, like you mentioned, who will say to their husbands, please go and get that checked out. Please go and beg and beg, because subconsciously they know they're going to have to deal with a bigger issue down the line as a caregiver.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, I think it's, I take the premises, the premise, you look after me, I look after you. And that's why I've taken this step with my cousin and my best friend and said, well, let's go do this stuff together. It's great for you. It's great for me. It means
laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And hopefully everything's clear. You won't be laughing if it's not.
You can compare your particles, you know.
But Bakabantu mentioned hypertension, and that's also a big issue. People, if you don't get diagnosed, you wonder why you're having certain very unhappy physical and physiological reactions to things. You're not entirely at your best at work, at home. You know, these are things that you can get sorted out fairly quickly. There are medications for these kinds of things which immediately remove most of the danger and the risk. He mentioned your kidneys if you're hypertensive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hypertension
take
is
big strain.
Unfortunately, something you don't feel.
Yeah.
So right now we'll all feel well. In the meantime, we may well have raised blood pressure. And if your blood pressure is high, it's putting pressure on your entire vascular system. And what does your vascular system do? Well, it supplies your brain, your heart, your bowel, your skin. It's all across your system. Fortunately, as you rightly mentioned, the treatment of blood pressure is very simple and very effective.
I take half a tablet a day.
Simple.
Nope.
And those tablets are great. They have they have what we call cardioprotective effects. They have kidney protective effects, as you mentioned a little bit earlier on, and they prevent all these downstream sequelae, heart attacks, strokes, renal failure, and so on and so forth. So simple interventions. The same thing in in diabetes. So we're seeing rising rates of diabetes across our population. And diabetes, if you catch it early, also very easy to treat. If you catch diabetes late, unfortunately, some significant impact.
Which one's type 1 and which one's type 2 again?
So type 1 is where you don't produce enough insulin. Type 1 typically manifests when you're a child, and then you get treated with insulin. Only about 8% of our population are type 1.
Okay.
Well over 90% of our population are type 2. And
which
type
is
2,
more likely to be lifestyle induced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And type 2, you're insulin resistant. So you don't treat type 2s with insulin. Only very severe type 2s do you treat with insulin. But diabetes is fascinating in that you can actually reverse diabetes nowadays. So we work hard across Discovery Health in people both preventing diabetes, but also reversing people out of type 2 diabetes, and imminently doable.
That's quite good exciting news, because I've heard they describe the conditions that might lead you into type 2 diabetes, be pre-diabetic, right?
Yeah.
So those are the ones to look out for and to do these tests for.
Yeah.
But you're saying if you treat it properly, you catch it early enough, and you are prepared to do the hard work that comes afterwards, you can actually reverse that.
Totally.
Wow.
Reverse out of diabetes. Same way you can reverse out of hypertension.
Yeah, you can.
There are certain lifestyle behavior changes, lower salt diets. In South Africa, we have quite high salt diets. Exercise gets us out of these.
Are we still hugely worried about cholesterol in men, South African men? Yes. While we were talking about men earlier, it's because of our diet as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the one common denominator between black South Africans and white South Africans is cholesterol, and hypertension becomes the common denominator across our populations. Cholesterol is a big deal, and I think of it as in our general health checks, which is the check you would have done last week. What are we looking for? We're looking for high blood pressure. We're looking for cholesterol. We're looking for early signs of diabetes. And then we're doing some more specific screenings, HIV and some of the cancer screenings. But if you've on top of cholesterol, blood pressure, and any semblance of diabetes, you're in good shape. And then if you're watching for the high prevalence cancers, you're in better shape.
Yeah.
All right. So I basically started off last week, and now I've got to pick up the pace and go for all these tests as well.
Yeah, you can join us in a few months' time.
Sounds like it. When are you going?
Might
need to be part of a crew.
A poo crew.
Well, listen, this is really, really helpful to know. And I think that we've got to take it seriously. This is the only meat vehicle you have on planet Earth. So
I think we're doing pretty well, though.
I mean, use it properly.
I saw a little bit of a debate recently on, are we looking younger than we used to? So it started off with this like homemade video of somebody in a classroom spanning across the classroom, and the kids who were in our standard 9 or 8 at that stage, they all looked like they were 40. And this was in like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
Photographs now coming out where it's actually a trend at the moment. If you are, say, 40, posting a picture of yourself alongside what your dad looked like when he was 40.
Yeah.
And we're looking younger, and we're looking after ourselves better, and we're more educated.
Thanks to modern medicine.
Thanks to doctors, thanks to research, and also just being more self-aware of everything going on. So I don't think we're doing too badly.
Well, we could always do better, right, Doc?
That's for sure. We want to live longer. There's a very big emerging science around longevity, though.
Mm-hmm.
And the next generation is going to live to over 100 on an average basis. In fact, we're doing a series at Discovery at the moment, looking at our centenarians across the Discovery Health medical scheme, people who have lived to beyond the age of 100.
Yeah, my grandfather was one of them. He was 102 when he died. Yeah. And there was actually, I think the company was from Japan that came over to interview him because they were doing a big study. And he had diabetes. And the most exercise he ever did was if he was dancing in a ballroom, like once every blue moon. So there were certainly other factors there.
Yeah, they did some interesting research. I mentioned this on the show the other day about how human connection is such an important part of longevity, right? It's probably the number one factor. Then, of course, you've got diet and exercise and, genes. Again, if you're lucky enough to have, long life in the genes, then that's obviously a massive plus.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the Golden Girls. They were my age as actors and actresses. Do you know that?
Well, this is a great ad for you, Leanne. That's all I'm going to say.
Think about how differently we're living our lives. I'm not wearing, matching floral with curly hair.
But Doc, I do want to get you back here to talk about longevity at some point, because I do think that's a fascinating area of research. And they're people who are trying all kinds of experimental medicines, experimental lifestyle choices, all kinds of things to just be able to live healthier for longer. Because there's no point in being old and feeling terrible, right? And your body's let you down or your mind's let you down. If you can get to an old age and be in pretty good condition, that's worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah, please.
And, I think many of the things we've got in place across the Discovery Health Medical Scheme and Discovery are aimed at longevity. And if your diet is working well and you're physically active, and by the way, physical activity is not only good for your body, it's good for your brain and your mind as well. People often miss that in the Vitality program. It's great to go for a run. It is just as good for your body as it is for your mind. And then thirdly, what we're doing lots of work on, and part of our discussion today on the Wealth Fund, is making sure that we're putting you on the right pathway from a clinical perspective. So you're doing the right screening tests, you're getting onto the right treatment, that we're monitoring those outcomes over time. So I think we're in a very exciting space of longevity, and certainly a lot of work and research that we're doing on that at the moment.
Fantastic. Dr. Ron Whelan is the Chief Commercial Officer at Discovery Health, and it's a pleasure to spend some time with you today. Go online and check out those Wealth Fund tests. Go and get screened. Go and get all of it done. They're not doing this just for their health. They're doing it for your health. So get on it ASAP. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Doc. All right, that's all we got time for this morning. We will see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Have an